And away we go. Another...
Jew. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your great intro.
Right. Well, I didn't have a great intro prepared. I didn't know that you did.
Apparently, it just came to me while you were saying it. I was like, this is what we need. We need a little Jew music. What's up, everybody? Welcome to American Jew. I'm Jonathan Randall.
I am Jordan Ferber, and we're here to bring you all the fantastic Jew-tastic news that we have this week. It was a good Thanksgiving. You had a good Thanksgiving?
It was okay. Nothing particularly special.
I mean, I know you say that like Thanksgiving's not really a Jewish thing, and we didn't have any reason to really talk about it, but it is all about, we're all about the food.
It is about the food, but it's also kind of all about the slaughter of innocent native people, and that kind of like brings in this whole other thing when it comes to Jews. And I mean, hey, I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving. You know, I was in the city on Thursday, and then I left early Friday morning to go to Baltimore. I was performing there for the weekend.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, what a shithole that place is. I went to a place called the Charcoal Deli, which isn't like a Jewish deli at all, actually.
Oh, really?
I was very good, by the way. Amazing pit beef. That's what's big in Baltimore. And I was like, oh, hey, Charcoal Deli. And I was like, you know, delis, I feel like they have like a little Jewish connotation, I guess, because of the delicatessen.
Right.
But then I guess no, there was nothing Jewish about the Charcoal Deli at all. Not even a little bit.
It's definitely been watered down, the delicatessen idea.
Yes, they definitely took like the deli part. They got rid of the catessen. And I think the catessen is the real Jew part.
That's what makes it Jewish, is the catessen?
I guess, because it was the deli, but they had really good fries there and good pit beef. I recommend it if you're in Baltimore. I don't recommend going to Baltimore, but if you have to be there for some reason, then check out the Charcoal Deli. It was not too far from where the comedy club was.
Did they have any black and white cookies? That's the
They
question.
did not have any black and white cookies. I love black and white cookies. We mentioned this a little bit last week. We were trying to figure out what is the Jewish connection with black and white cookies, because the Jews love black and white cookies. I love black and white cookies, also known as half moons.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they're also known as half moons. They're also known as Harley Quinns.
Oh, you did a deep dive onto these cookies.
I was like, I love black and white cookies so much. I should know more about black and white cookies. Like I've gone like all the way to the Upper East Side just to get a black and white cookie, because like they were making the special kinds. And so, yes, I've learned a lot about black and white cookies. You know, there's a discrepancy of where it started. Did it start in New York, in the city?
That would make it pretty Jewish.
That would make sense. Or did they start in Utica? It seems the black and white cookie started in New York at Glazer's Bake Shop in 1902.
Okay.
And then the Half Moon cookies were started in Hemstrut Bakery in Utica.
Okay,
so they're a little different.
So there's some arguing as to who invented it.
Yes, well, you know, some people say the Half Moon cookie came first, the black and white cookie came first, but Ashkenazi Jews they really embraced it, and they love it. Of course, you know, Glazer's Bake Shop was a Jewish bakery, but other than the fact that I feel like Jews just enjoy black and white cookies, I'm not really sure what the other connection to them are. I will go to town. I will buy, they have the mini Half Moons, they call them at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I will buy one of those and then just try not to eat the whole thing in one night, which I typically fail. And if I don't eat them all, then what I find myself doing is, for some reason, in the middle of the night, I'm waking up and I'm eating the ones that I haven't eaten. Like in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Like in the middle, I sleep eat.
Oh boy.
I sleep eat black and white cookies.
It's gonna be a full moon any day now.
Right? So I love black and white cookies. Like I was hoping there was gonna be like some more sort of like Jewish connection other than just like Jews love them, New York City, kosher bakeries really like have them. All the kosher bakeries have them. Jews enjoy black and white cookies, especially Ashkenazi Jews, which we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you do a deep enough dive onto any of these issues, you know, I'd probably find out somewhere down the line that pastrami's not Jewish.
Don't talk. That's blasphemy, especially this close to Katz's Deli, Jordan. How dare you?
I'm just putting that out there as a hypothetical, you know.
You know who's not Jewish? Donald Trump.
Oh boy, yes.
Even though, you know, I love it how whenever people want to say, like, no, Trump is a friend to the Jews. His daughter's a Jew. He has Jewish grandkids.
Yeah.
So what?
Speaking of black and white issues.
Yeah, right? So what? If you have any care or respect for the Jewish people, you don't dine with Holocaust deniers. And I don't want to hear the excuse, he didn't know who they were. Well, he has a group of people that should know who he is and be like, hey, Donnie, maybe not a good idea idea to be breaking bread with a guy who says the Holocaust never happened.
Well, the funny thing is also, I mean, so Kanye and Nick Fuentes went and had dinner with Trump, and Trump invited them in. Apparently, Kanye was there to ask Trump to be his running mate as president for his run for president.
Crazy.
He wanted Trump to be his vice president.
Wow.
That is hilarious. And that is some serious balls to go in there and ask Trump that, which is apparently why Trump went crazy and screamed and threw them out.
Oh, I think Trump was already crazy. Well, at least it's great. Trump threw them out, not for denying the Holocaust.
Right.
Just for, not for all the anti-Semitism, just for trying to take the spotlight away from Trump.
Yeah. Trump's like, don't run for president because you'll lose to me. And Kanye's like, well, that's why you should be my running mate.
Well, and Nick Fuentes apparently is like his campaign, Kanye's campaign manager or something. And then Kanye released some sort of thing where he got suspended from Twitter again because it was like the Star of David with the swastika in it is like his campaign logo or something. I don't know. And then on Alex Jones.
Yeah, InfoWars.
And like Kanye hasn't been crazy enough. By the way, Kanye West is like that toxic girl that you dated who like always tries to push you to see how far she could do it until you just get rid of her. I feel like that's what Kanye is with his fans right now, where he's just like, I'm just going to keep going and going and going until people finally, like, what's it going to take for people to be like, no, we don't like him? Because there are so many like Kanye sympathizers who are like, oh no, Kanye's right. Of course, they can't spell it right.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of places for him to continue spouting some of this stuff. I mean, the fact that he's going on Alex Jones's show just proves that he has to spend time with people that are more than just morally bankrupt.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, when Alex Jones is looking at you like you're crazy, then you definitely know that, like, you've gone off the rails. I mean, Alex Jones, at one point, I only saw clips of the interview, but he was like, oh my gosh, we've gone into the Twilight Zone. That's where he lives. That's where Alex Jones lives, in the Twilight Zone. This is a guy who said that, like, Sandy Hook, they hired actors to make that happen. You know, he got sued. He lost the case, too.
Yeah, he just had to pay like $1 billion.
Alex Jones is a nutcase. And then he's sitting between, you know, Nick Fuentes and Kanye, who's saying that, like, he likes Hitler and he loves the Nazis. And it's just like, oh, come on, Kanye. Are you wearing a mask because you want the people who are going to respond to that to be on your side? And if they see that you're black, they won't be?
It's just crazy that people have to find these things to be like, oh, Hitler was great. He invented the microphone. Is that what he said? Or he like,
what? I didn't know that.
He was trying to talk about, like, you know, finding good things to say about Hitler. Like, oh, you know, I mean, it's a big old joke. Like, oh, they say Hitler was a great dancer and a hell of a chef. I mean,
well, we know he wasn't a very good artist.
Right, not a good artist.
I don't think he was a very good dresser. I don't like his hairstyle either.
In the movie The Producers, the writer of the play does claim that Hitler could have painted an entire apartment in one afternoon, 2 coats.
Oh, well, in that case, that changes everything.
You know,
no wonder Kanye likes him. He must have Hitler confused with some guy that did painting of his house.
I mean, this was a joke, but still, I feel like, you know, that you're really reaching if you're trying to find nice things to say about Hitler, which is really weird.
Why do you want to say nice things about Hitler?
Right,
Who cares? Hitler sucks. Like, what the hell? Why is Kanye all of a sudden, like, part of the Hitler fan club? I don't get it.
I know. I mean, he ruined that mustache look for sure.
Hitler ruined it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Kanye hasn't grown one of those.
I can't believe it. It's really crazy to me that Kanye is saying this stuff. Like, he's doubling down so much.
I can't believe he would even, like, identify with Hitler because, you know, Adidas took Kanye's shoes away and Hitler took Jews' shoes away.
Well, not only that, though, I'm surprised that Hitler, first of all, didn't just kill Jews. He killed black people. He killed
gypsies, gay people, people who were disabled.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kanye checks off a few of those boxes.
Hitler would have been no fan of Kanye.
Yeah.
I've been making this joke in my act recently. I actually posted a video about it earlier too, but I like Kanye best when his mouth was wired shut. You can't be anti-Semitic through the wire.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's crazy that if Hitler were still alive, he would definitely hate Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye sucks. This is crazy that he's still he's still getting so much attention.
Yeah.
And it's not about like canceling Kanye. It's just like, we need to avert our eyes. We need to like stop. Like, enough is enough. This is what Kanye wants. He just wants the attention. He feeds off it.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think that's probably why he's doubling down on this stuff. I mean, that's the only reason to continue spouting this bullshit is to keep cameras on him and keep his So he's been kicked off Twitter again.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, there's something good in everybody, especially Hitler. Hey, maybe especially Pete Davidson after he banged your wife, Kanye.
Yeah, see? I don't know. And the Nick Fuentes thing, I mean, he's crazy. The whole incel movement, involuntarily celibate is what incel stands for. And
yes, and is he their leader?
It's like these guys decided to come up with a moniker that just explains why they're imminently unfuckable.
Well, I don't think they came up with their own. I don't think they were like, we are incels. I think they were called that by other people.
I mean, this guy Nick Fuentes saying that he's a self-identifying virgin. He said he's never had sex because having sex with women is gay.
Oh, wow. This guy seems awesome. I don't know that much about him. I don't want to know that much about him. Anyone that says the Holocaust didn't happen, I feel like we should treat as if they don't exist.
I'll tell you this. If you're part of a group that goes around saying the Jews will not replace us, but you're not procreating, someone is going to replace you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is just...
And don't worry, Nick Fuentes, no one wants to replace you, okay? You're irreplaceable as one of the biggest douchebag, bigoted haters on the face of the earth. And I can't believe you're like Kanye's hype man now.
It is really crazy that, it's hard to think that Trump is throwing them out. Like, that's how far it goes. Not only is Alex Jones calling them crazy and being like, oh, we're in deeper territory, but even Trump was like, I got to distance myself from this guy.
Did he?
Well, I mean, he's trying to...
Is he now? He's trying to like, oh no, wait, that was another bad move. But like every move he makes is bad. And it's so sickening to me, like I mentioned before, where people really think that like he cares about Jewish well-being, and just because his daughter converted to Judaism, that like means that Trump is a friend of the Jews. It doesn't. There are plenty of racist people whose kids go on to marry someone outside of their race. It doesn't mean all of a sudden they like love that race. They're still racist. They're still bigoted. They're still haters. It's such a stupid argument when people are like, but his daughter's Jewish.
Yeah. I mean, she's trying to distance herself from him as well. I mean, she's not come out and said anything.
She should come out more and be like, I'm ashamed of my father.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ashamed of my father, and he never dined with Holocaust deniers.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The little I know about your dad, I kind of like, the whole Juverine thing.
Oh, well, that's just one picture that you saw of my dad, who I just found out recently got married for the 4th time.
Oh, really?
4th time's a charm, hopefully.
Mazel.
I guess, not really. I think actually he was married before, but he didn't want to tell anybody because it was like too soon.
Okay.
Because he married like an Orthodox Jewish woman.
Right.
He's Orthodox, and like so like they did it fast because like you can't have sex unless you're married. So that was like a priority, even though that obviously hasn't worked out for my dad the last 3 times. But so then he didn't want to tell the family because we were all like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you marrying some woman after meeting her for like 1 month?" That's
well, because he
crazy.
wanted to have sex with her.
Yeah,
That's why.
well, whatever, Yeah, it's
That's weird.
So now he married some religious woman, and he's like, "Oh, I've never been happier. This is the woman I've been looking for my whole life," and we're all just curious to see how long it'll last. And I don't think this woman has any clue like who my dad really is. So good luck to her. And another reason why you shouldn't be an Orthodox Jew, and you should get to actually know somebody and who they are before you get married and before you get involved, and not just do it so you could have sex or whatever.
Yeah, hate somebody for who they are, not just because they're Jewish.
Well, we've been saying that forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel as a New Yorker. Like, it's so hard to hate groups in New York because they're all here. Like, I hate individuals. That's why.
Yeah, I love it. You got to hate individuals.
Yeah.
Talking about individuals people are hating, a lot of Christians are hating this guy, Rav Shlomo Yehuda ben David, because there are people in Israel, apparently, that believe he's the Messiah, and then there are all these Christian people being like, no, he's the Antichrist. He's not the Messiah. He's the Antichrist.
I mean,
and I think that's funny because, like, I was trying to do research about this because, like, I kept seeing videos about, like, there's a Messiah in Israel, and the only research I could do was just, like, Christian people calling him the Antichrist.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's gonna, if you want to get your name out there, either one is a good way.
Right? Either you're the Messiah or the Antichrist. Either you're the black part of the cookie or the white.
I mean, both things will get you trending on TikTok.
They will. I mean, I don't know. That'd be crazy if the Messiah came, but like I think if the Messiah came, like it's just like he doesn't just like know the Torah. Like we're gonna need some like bigger miracles.
Yeah.
You know, if the Messiah really is gonna come, I think one of the biggest things they could do in Israel is bring peace between Israel and the Palestinian people. And I personally don't think the Messiah will come. Until that happens, you know, I don't particularly believe in the Bible. I think it's superstition, but in the Bible, in the Old Testament, God is constantly testing the Jewish people.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they pass, sometimes they fail. Sometimes he punishes them for failing. And I think that what is going on in Israel with the Palestinian people is one of the biggest tests, and the Jewish people are failing it miserably, and Messiah will never come as long as fundamental human rights of Palestinian people are being violated, and until Palestinians and Israelis are living in peace and prosperity together, there will never be any Messiah, in my opinion. Not that I believe the Messiah is real to start with.
Well, have you found any videos of or things of that he's saying or talking about? Like, why are people calling him the Messiah?
They're calling the Messiah because apparently he just like knows the Torah like back and forth. He's just like incredibly educated. That's what I understood from the research I did. But he knows it better than like most rabbis. And then some people are saying that he did perform some miracles, but like I couldn't really like there are no videos of him like turning water into wine. Or,
I mean, the whole thing about like, you know, it's all about faith anyway, right? These miracle things, like people just have faith that those things happened. Like, you know, needing the proof is, you know, that's what when you
right. I mean, when you want to believe, you believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about creationism versus intelligent design. You know, I think it's like an evolution. Like, you know, people of science or people of God. You know, you have to have one. I mean, there's only really one way people think about that stuff. It's, you know.
Yeah, it depends. If you're a religious person, then you always go look for God and you see things that way religiously. And then if you have half a brain, then you trust more science.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it is. I don't know if it's a test from God or what, but you know, the fact that there is so much unrest in the Middle East, you know, the fact that there isn't a clear path forward to peace, you know, it's the fact that there are factions on both sides that the only solution that they can come up with is the complete destruction of the other side, and that is not how you maintain peace and order. Like,
absolutely not. And like, hey, I don't necessarily even believe in God, but I think like, hey, like it could be, that would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
And if that is all real and, you know, I am wrong, which could be possible, it's happened a couple times before, then I think that is what's getting in the way of, you know, the Messiah coming. Personally,
yeah,
is what I think.
I mean, also the other thing is that eventually, if you want to have a following, you have to be big on TikTok and you have to have an online presence. You know.
Oh, so that's what you're saying? The Messiah is having an online presence. The Messiah is not going to come he's not going to descend down from the heavens. He's just going to like pop up on your TikTok feed.
Yeah, exactly. I would think so. At this point, that's how you reach the masses.
Well, I don't think he's the Messiah. And I will not be following him on any social media. But I hope that everybody out there will follow us on social media, American Jew Pod, across all platforms. Let's talk about this Palestinian French lawyer.
Right. Yes.
So, Salah Hammouri?
Hammouri, I think that's
Hammouri,
how you pronounce it.
Forgive us if we're pronouncing his name wrong. We're trying. We're just a bunch of white Americans.
We read some articles, but it wasn't spelled phonetically.
Yes, right? I didn't have time to go to YouTube and be like, how is this pronounced, and watch those videos, which I typically do because I'm all in my head about I want to say people's names right, especially when I'm talking about Palestinian people. So this is this guy has been in administrative detention for 9 months,
right?
Which is this horrible thing that Israel does where it holds people without a trial, without saying why. You know, Israel always likes to say, oh, they have secret evidence that they can't reveal. And that's why, you know, they kill Palestinian people. That's why they hold people without a trial or giving an explanation of why they're being held in this administrative detention.
It is a lot of questionable practices.
Yes, absolutely. So he's been held in that for 9 months. I guess they could hold you for 6 months, but then they could renew it indefinitely as much as they want.
Right.
And then he is now going to be deported from Israel, where he was born and raised, where he lived in East Jerusalem.
Right. He has to renounce his Israeli citizenship.
he has to denounce. Okay, I didn't realize that. Like, and you also have to say you're not even Israeli. They're not only kicking him out, but they're making him say, and it's not. I'm not Israeli either. All because he was fighting so hard to end the apartheid, to end the oppression of the Palestinian people, and they're saying that, I guess what, like, he doesn't have allegiance to Israel, and that's part of the reason why they want to get him out.
I mean, this is where a lot of this stuff gets really complicated too. And I mean, we were talking about this before we turned the mics on, and as we were, sort of looking some of this stuff up about how, he has been branded a terrorist because he works with these human rights organizations that have been branded terrorist organizations by Israel.
Which, again, didn't provide any proof, and tons of European countries, America itself has come out and saying that we looked into this, and there was no proof. We can't find any evidence of them being terrorists. But, of course, Israel's saying this guy's a terrorist. He doesn't have allegiance to Israel. He's very vocal about ending the apartheid, about the oppression, and they want him out of the country, which Amnesty International and many people are saying illegal deportation constitutes as a war crime.
Right, which, I mean, it's hard to figure out. Obviously, I was reading about this guy. It's not like he's a Boy Scout either. He was in jail for being part of a alleged plot to assassinate one of the top rabbis.
This was all allegedly, and he claims that he was innocent. And again, it's very hard with these things because, yes, maybe he was involved. Maybe he did do something bad. But with Israel, it's so hard because they're so quick to say, oh, this person's a terrorist, this person's that person's that. That, like, what is the truth? Just because Israel says that someone's a terrorist doesn't necessarily mean that they really are a terrorist. And many argue that the state of Israel and the IDF are terrorists themselves. Itamar Ben-Gvir certainly is a terrorist, and now he's part of the new government. So, it's like the pot calling the kettle terrorist.
Yeah. It is definitely hard to figure out where to spend our energy talking about this stuff. It's like, how do you help in these scenarios? Because there's so much disinformation.
Absolutely, but I think, one way of helping is letting people know what is happening, letting people know that this guy is being deported. Everybody's so obsessed with Kanye these days, but there are other stories that are more pressing and more important. And you know what? Kanye being a freaking anti-Semitic lunatic, I wish that wasn't so prevalent in the news, and I wish we were seeing more about the oppression of the Palestinian people and how, and more Jews speaking out against it, because I feel like more and more are doing so all around the world, and I think people are starting to really come to the realization of what has been going on and how we've all been deceived.
Yeah, I think it is a good thing that there are more of these discussions happening, but it's definitely, people are still, I think, really entrenched in their own views, and there's not as much listening as there should be happening. I think people are talking a lot, but people are not getting across a lot.
Absolutely. And one thing that I always say is, like, everyone's so quick to, like, point the finger at the other side, and we got to be pointing the fingers at our own side more. I feel like that's what I like to do. A lot of people want to be like, oh, Jonathan, well, why are you speaking out against Israel? And there are Palestinian Muslim people that do bad things, that do happen, which is true. But I do speak out against those too. But it's more important to me to speak out against what my own people are doing.
Yeah.
Because we got to stop what is happening on our side instead of only worrying about the other side. Neither of our sides are perfect. Let's get our own house in order. And then, we can move forward from there. I think that's important.
Maybe you're the Messiah, Jonathan. It could be.
Oh, my goodness. Don't get me started on that. I don't know. But hey, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't think I want, but I do want a peaceful coexistence between Israel and Palestine. I want the oppression for the Palestinian people to end, and it's crazy that it's still happening. It's crazy that every day Palestinian people are dying or getting shot, and Israel, just wants to say, we had secret evidence why we had to do it.
Yeah, and it does seem like some of the policies that Israel has in detaining these kinds of people is very inhumane. I mean, they're not treating them like human beings, and so I think that on a base level, I think we can all agree that kind of treatment has to stop. I mean, you have to treat people like human beings.
Absolutely. And, people keep wanting to say, oh, Palestinian people don't want peace. They've been offered peace. Yeah, it's really not that black and white. And you know what? There are plenty of Israeli people that don't want peace. Of course, we mentioned all the time. Yitzhak Rabin, the Israeli prime minister who was trying to have peace happen, was killed by an Israeli. There are, illegal settlers that are building illegal settlements, encroaching on Palestinian land all the time. This doesn't help peace. It's not only because of the Palestinians. It's not only because of Hamas. Israel and many right-wing extremist Israelis have responsibility in it too.
And also, the fact that when there are people who stand up for these kinds of atrocities, that stand, that try to talk about how we can be living in peace together, or pointing out the failed policies of the Israeli government, or so how some of their practices are, pretty awful. People don't even listen to that. They brand you as anti-Israel or anti-Semitic just for having those types of views, and that shuts down any real discussion or debate about it. You can't really have a proper way to talk with people about this stuff if you're going to brand them as a terrorist.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's another thing I'm hoping that we're moving away from. If people just so could be like, you're an anti-Semite. Like, there's plenty of anti-Semitism going on. We don't need to call people anti-Semites that aren't being anti-Semites, and we can't use it as a weapon to silence people.
For sure. I think,
and we won't be silenced. So check us out on social media. You can check me out on social media at Jonathan Randall. Check out my other podcast, How You Like Me Now.
Oh, yeah. You could check out my other podcast, Where's the Grief? You can follow me on Instagram at BeatNickNudnick. And this was a fun one. I think this was good. Not all the issues that we talked about were black and white issues.
But I'm going to go still get myself a cookie.
Oh, boy.